Seeking answers to age-old questions. Deciphering the world painted around you by the mainstream media. This is the Kev Baker Show. And now, here is your host, Kev Baker.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Wookiees. Welcome back to the first show of the week, right here on the Kev Baker Show. With me, your host, funnily enough, the one and only Kev Baker. Now, tonight I am joined by my friend and my co-host, Mr. Johnny Whistles. But here's the rub. His audio isn't working. Go figure, guys. Over 400 shows, and we're still getting these little glitches coming along, but this is real people and real radio. Now, I see Op Free World in the chat room, driving 90 mile per hour to get here. You keep yourself safe, brother, because we are one sleep closer to that massive show on Wednesday when Op Free World will be coming on the Kev Baker Show live. And judging by some of the mail I've been getting, it is a show that you are all wanting to hear. But before we even get to Op Free World, our sister, the Nano Girl, she will be here for her first show of 2016 tomorrow night. And boy, oh boy, has she got some cracking topics to cover. And then on Thursday night, we have the magnificent, the one and only Mr. Christopher Everard. He will be coming on the show. Now, Mr. Christopher Everard he played a big part in tonight's guest coming on. Johnny Whistles.
Yes, it's back, Kev. I went through, I downloaded a little Windows thing that fixes your audio in a couple of seconds, and there you go.
Whistles, I will come back to you momentarily. But as I was saying, Mr. Christopher Everard, one of the greatest shows, in my opinion, right here on Truth Frequency Radio. Now, he's also the guy that's behind Enigma TV. Now, he makes miniseries, documentaries, films. And during one of these recent filming sessions, he came across a character, and I'm definitely going to call him a character, called Rod Scarth. Now, Rod is going to be our guest in just a moment, and we all heard him, I hope. You better have heard him, over on Freaky Friday, just a couple of shows ago. He also joined Mr. Christopher Everard, like I was saying, just last week, I believe, and that was to talk about mind hacking. Hypnosis, and this is where Chris came into contact with Rod. And tonight we're going to call on Rod's vast experience on all things mind-related and even paranormal. And this is going to be one heck of a show for all of you out there. Now then, Johnny Whistles, back with us, man. I thought we were going to have to get Rod to do some kind of mind woo and get you from the other dimension.
Yeah, that would have been good, but no, I don't know what it is, Kev. It's just one of these things. Everything was showing up fine in Skype, except me speaking. I could actually hear myself. I could hear you, but nothing seemed to be working. So, Google.
Johnny Whistles, my night is now complete because, as you know, I've been going on all weekend about getting Rod on. But before we get Rod on, there's no show without all you Wookiees out there. I see Anne was in the chat. She's left the chat. She's obviously fed up with my voice already. Go figure. We've got Lucky. We've got Penelope. We've got Angie Marie, Bill, Carl, Carol, Christopher, Common Sense. We could do with some of that in the world. Seriously, guys. We need an outbreak of common sense. We've got Daryl, Gail, Gergs, Gwen, Itala, Jeff, Jeremy, the one and only John Teeter. When was he here? We've got Kenny. We've got me. We've got Lichty, Mark, Matthew, No Luke and John. We've got Scott, Nancy, the one and only Op Free World here on Wednesday night. We've got Peter Small, Johnny Whistles, Papa Bear. We've got a psychic in there. Oh, here we go. We've got Rag, Reese, Sam, Scottish John. And Scottish John, I need to get in touch with you because we need to book you up a date to get back on here. We've had a conflict of dates. You chose the one date that was booked. Go figure. We've got Terry, TFR, Wookie, Time Lord, Tracy, and last but not least, Trans Personals. And you're all here tonight to listen to Mr. Rod Scarth. Now, Rod is a hypnotist, medium, photographer, and a whole lot more to boot. Now, like I said, you heard him first on Freaky Friday thanks to Mr. Christopher Everard and his mind-hacking series, which you can get at Enigma TV. But he is here with the Woo crew on KBS tonight. Rod, finally, welcome to the show, man.
Morning, Kev. Nice to speak to you again.
Oh, it's perfect to speak to you. Loving this new audio setup you've got, Rod. You're sounding loud and clear. And, you know, unsurprisingly, after you visited the Freaky Friday studios, whatever, you're kind of getting a lot more publicity coming your way, Rod. And before we get into any kind of information tonight, it's almost as if the mainstream media out there, they're trying to set you up with this newfound publicity. What's going on, Rod?
Indeed, yes. Well, basically, I had an email, I think it was about 2 days ago, since being on your radio show, just to let you know, so it's all your fault. Dear Rod, can you take some saucy pictures of my wife, please? She's lost her sex drive. I thought, okay, yeah, whatever. I said, okay. First of all, it was the husband asking. I said, well, I never do anything behind wives' back. First off, he said, no, she knows all about it. I said, okay, and then ignored it. And then yesterday I had an email, Rod, please can you help with anything you can do? So I thought, yeah, I'm going to leave this. So today I had another email, Rod, well, basically no mention of photographs this time. Rod, my wife's lost her sex drive using your talents. Can you get my wife all horny and sexy again? I've attached some photographs. I thought, okay, and I opened them and said, yeah, near enough naked pictures of this woman. And at the bottom it says, money, no object. So absolute scam. So I wrote back and said, okay, how do you know me? Where do you live? I'm not going to say where they live. And they said, well, we've seen you on the internet. And they also do hypnotism, etc. I said, okay, I'll do boudoir pics for you, which I do, but I will be using a chaperone. They said, no, you don't need a chaperone. I'll be there. Which I thought, yeah, straight away, set up. So then I emailed back, no, I'll be using my own chaperone and coming along. So I haven't heard anything since. It was obviously journalists trying to set me up for a big fall. Hypnotised my wife to do sex acts, etc.
Absolutely. And for anyone outside the UK, I'm not too sure what the world of tabloid journalism and gutter press is like. But here in Britain, this would be the typical story that you would find in your daily tabloid, and all designed to ruin Rod's credibility. Now, like I say, Rod is a hypnotist. He also dabbles, being a bit of a medium. And tonight we're going to talk about both of these topics. Now, Rod, I think it's quite important to basically start at the beginning again. And something quite important about your actual brand of hypnosis, for me anyway, is the fact that you're self-taught.
Yes, completely self-taught. For those that didn't listen to the other show, in 1994, my father died. My world ended. I was left with no money. I thought, what am I going to do? I sort of wandered around aimlessly. And around about 1995, I went to see a hypnotist show. And I thought, wow, I want to do that. But of course, I had £5 in my back pocket. No way of anybody teaching me. So I just went to the library, read every book on hypnosis, meditation, yoga, psychology. I read all of Jung, Freud, mind control, anything possible. Well, basically, I did read the library dry. I was there every day just reading. Just 1 month later, I went to my local pub and said, look, I'm a hypnotist. I'll do a show for you, free of charge. All we'll do at the end of the evening, we'll pass the hat round, and that's my pay. He said, okay. So I went along with my little Radio Shack microphone, my cassette recorder, pushing play to the little bits of sketches. Did a fantastic show, passed the hat round, got £25, and I've never looked back since, basically.
And Rod, would you say anyone can pick up this ability to actually hypnotise people?
No, definitely not. The way people say, oh, I want to be a hypnotist. I said, okay, right, first of all, imagine, like I have had to do and done, that you walk on stage to a stage that's probably as big as somebody's house. You are there alone on that stage with 1,000 people staring at you, and all you have is a microphone entertaining those 1,000 people and asking for volunteers. Then you have to know the craft inside out, upside down, and have, well, that night, if you actually look on my webpage, I think I had round about 40 volunteers. So that 40 volunteers I have to look after and whittle down and actually hypnotise to produce a show from nothing, basically. So No, it does take to be a professional hypnotist, it does take a lot of training, but natural, what can I call self-belief. Yeah, you've got to believe in yourself. If you think, I don't know, it might work, forget it. It will not. You have to have so much self-belief in yourself, and to get on that stage and perform, keep smiling all the way through, do an hour and a half, 2 hour show, and entertain. That's above all, entertain, be funny. That's it. You're also there to entertain them, not just hypnotize. Oh, look, he's hypnotizing people. Isn't that amazing?
That makes a lot of sense to me, Rod, and here's why. I mean, I speak to literally myself and Johnny and all the hosts on the network here. We can speak to thousands of people live at a time. Now, if you were to put me into some kind of building where these people were physically in front of me, I would need to be hypnotized to come onto the stage, let alone do a show, Rod. No confidence when it comes to speaking in front of people, but when you hide behind the mic here, it seems to be okay. It's a strange quirk in my own mind, I think.
The weird thing is, the more people there are in the audience, the more I enjoy it. I actually got booked to do a show in Soho, and I thought, oh no, here we go. And there's supposed to be 100 people there, and 12 turned up. So I actually did a show for 12 people still. But when I had no audience, I actually did the huge. Well, your listeners probably won't have heard, but it's a huge venue in Birmingham to 1,000 audience, and I absolutely loved it. As soon as I walked on stage, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Right, what we're going to do tonight? Bang! I was straight in. Like I said, the more audience, the more I enjoy it.
And you do a lot of the entertainment hypnosis, shall we call it? And people will be wondering, well, Kev, how does this fit in with the alternative media and our journey for knowledge? You know, we often talk on here about the fact that there's mind control being used on all of us in the world right now, via television, via our smartphones, via Facebook, via all sorts of different mediums. And I'm glad that Rod explained there how easy it was for him, albeit he had the ability to learn this. Because think of these people we're up against, and think of the system of mind control that we are up against. The brain literally is just a computer. And these people treat it as such, and that is how they can so successfully program us. And Rod, on a kind of more personal level, I don't see much of a difference between the programming that we can get via television and you participating with willing people on a stage, because you give them the same kind of stimulus to control them.
Yes, indeed. And in actual fact, I've actually, I can't say too much, but I'm actually videoing a documentary this Sunday, totally legit. It's showing how MK Ultra mind control works. I've actually set somebody up. Like I said, I can't say on air because the person might listen to the show if they record it or whatever. But I've actually set up this Sunday to do an MK Ultra experiment, exactly as they did with keywords, etc. And I'm fingers crossed it will work. But it's really, really, when I tell the parents what I'm going to do, they are like gobsmacked, because it is that heavy what I'm going to do, but it shows the power of mind control, basically.
Wow. And you use, and hypnosis and mind control uses things called anchors and triggers. Could you explain that to us, Rod?
Well, that's just one of them. There's also called, I'll get into pacing and leading as well, but that's another thing. Yes. Basically, now here we go. I didn't mention this on your other show, but there's, I can't remember his name. There's somebody in America who actually teaches you. I was doing, because I work, oh, here we go. I'll rewind it a little bit. Most of my work when I was on stage, I did in Greece, a little island called Corfu. And when I'd finished the show, I used to go out onto town a little bit. And I used to teach these 18-year-old lads how to pick up a girl, how just to be so confident, and just, it wasn't sneaky, but it's just so easy. Let me give you an idea of what an anchor is. The listeners are going to really listen to this now, and it might work for you as well, Kev, actually, and Mr. Whistles. Basically, if you got talking to a girl and if you say the word love all the time, well, what do you really love in life? And as you do that, you touch her shoulder. And he said, oh, isn't it nice? I'd love to be in the country. And you touch her shoulder again. all you've got to do, again, you haven't even got to mention that word, just touch her shoulder, and she will associate the word love with touching her shoulder in her subconscious. Won't realise it. And if you wanted to fall in love with you, all you got to do is mention, oh, how do you feel about me? And you touch her shoulder at the same time.
Wow.
There you go.
Whistles,
There
we're
you
going
go.
out at the weekend, man. We've got it sucked. But
There you
Johnny,
go.
I know you were keen to speak to Rod as well, because some of the things that this guy knows, some of the things this guy's been up to, absolutely fascinating, Johnny. So I'll give it over to you just now before I hog this full show.
Go for it, Mr. Whistles.
Whistles. Oh,
he's-
Whistles' audio has gone
He's
again.
done
Would you
fun,
believe
yeah.
it? Now, Rod, I know you've got a few stories to tell us tonight, but
Yes.
one I'm very keen to hear, and I don't even know if you can remember telling me about this one, was when you were treated like some kind of prince when you went
Yes.
abroad.
Yes,
Tell us more,
I've
man.
actually got. I've got a list in front of me on a bit of paper what I need to talk about tonight, because I just don't know what I'm going to talk about when I come on your show.
Well, you'll get used to me interrupting and taking you down rabbit holes because, Rod,
that's good.
I know this is going to be the start of a really good
Yes.
working relationship, man.
I do like to, because it brings back memories actually when you say, oh Rod, what about that? I go, oh wow, I did that, didn't I? Right, then here we go. Basically, it was round about 3 years ago. I will say I'm very, very sorry to the listeners. If ever I get a call on the phone, it's always, good afternoon, sir. Would you be interested in double glazing? I am so rude. I'm unbelievable. Good afternoon, Mr. Scarth. What? No. Yeah. What do you want? I'm not going to say it, but I tell them to F off, basically.
Quite right as well, man.
Yeah.
They are the bane of my life.
So basically 3 years ago, I had a phone call right out of the blue. Oh, Mr. Scott, it was not being racist or anything, but it was an Eastern accent, which I'm not going to do because I'm not going to upset anybody. It was an
Yes, Mr. Rod. How can we help you today, Mr. Rod?
yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Yes, and it was Mr. Scott, are you a hypnotist? I went, yeah. And do you teach? No. Right, okay. Well, I'm in Dubai. Oh, hello. Yeah, I might be interested.
Dubai.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, okay, I might, yeah. He said, well, I'm looking for somebody to teach me hypnosis. Would you be interested in coming over? I went, here we go. Scam again. Here we go. Rod's going to be set up. And basically said, well, I work for the Royal Prince in Dubai. I am his financial advisor, and I look after all of his money, his investments. I went, okay, yeah, heard it before. So, you hear all these stories. And I went, okay, then. I spoke to him about 20 minutes. So he said, how much to charge me to teach me hypnosis? I went, well, going out there. I said, up top me, I said, £5,000. He went, yeah, sounds fine. I said, right, sorted. I said, look, without being rude, I said, look, if you're genuine, send me a deposit of £1,000. So I gave him my details and never thought anything more of it. I wandered downtown to have a look at, there it was, £1,000 in my account. I thought, oh my God. So I got straight back on to him on email, and he said, when can you come? This is about Monday. He said, can you be here by Saturday? It was like, well, no, I can't really. First of all, I have a funeral on the Saturday, and I said, maybe on the Monday. He said, yeah. So he booked my flight all the way to Dubai.
And this was before you put him in a trance, Rod, right?
Yes, completely. Yes, basically. So I got on the United Arab Emirates, is that, I think? UAE,
That's the one, yeah.
That's the one, yeah. So I got on their flight, and there's a beautiful aeroplane all the way to Dubai. And I don't know if you know, but some of these places you go into the airports, they scan your eyes to see who you are.
Oh, we talk about that often, yes.
Yes, and they were talking about, what you're doing in Dubai, et cetera, et cetera. And I went up to of course, because I believe it or not, even though I got a Wiltshire accent, I'm boarding school, a boarding school boy. So when I tried to impress, I put on my boarding school accent. They said, what's your reason for it? I said, hello, I'm here to see somebody on business. Oh, certainly, sir. Where are you staying? I don't know, it was some, I can't remember the name of the hotel. He said, oh, straight through, sir. No eye scanning, no thing, no questions. Says your passport, straight through. And then I was met by two men in the white robes with my name. I thought, hello, what's going on here? Showed me to this huge limousine. One said, what temperature would you like the car, sir? Here's your water. We'll take you to the hotel. And unbelievable. The hotel was wow. Remote control. I was given the remote control to everything: the curtains, the lighting, the telly, the mood lighting, bed like a blooming swimming pool. Basically, long story short, I was treated like a prince. I was taken to all the top restaurants. I was taken to the Burj Khalifa, all the way up the top of the tower.
Sounds like you were living like a politician, Rod.
Yes, yeah, it was. I said, he said, what card do you want to be used whilst you're here for I think I was there for about 12 days. He said, what card do you want? He said, well, the cars I've got a new Range Rover, I've got a Hummer, I've got the Harley if you want to use it, I've got a Porsche, or what? I said, no chance, because the traffic out there is horrific. I'm sorry I'm not talking about hypnosis now, but I'm going to, believe it or not. And basically it came to the crunch of it. He wanted me, because he was bored, he was a bored businessman, he wanted me to teach him the art of hypnosis. So I started to teach him, and I didn't realise how hard it was. I said, well, okay, say that I went to absolute basics, like day one for me. I said, say these words in a certain way, a certain manner. And it was just like, wow, I didn't realise how hard it is to actually, for people to hypnotise. I take it like, everyday event for me. It's so easy.
Was it maybe a language thing, Rod?
No, it's not. He spoke pure English. It's the fact you have to say certain words in a certain way, a tone of voice, and to make it empowering and then soft and then be powerful again at the right times. It's just like I said, I take it for granted. But basically, he gave up we did a little bit. He said, look, I can't do it, Rod. So I hypnotized him. And it was funny because whilst we were there, people popping in and out, millionaires. You could see they were wearing all the Gucci and Armani stuff and throwing their Porsche and Ferrari keys down. And I actually hypnotized him. And one of the clients walked in whilst he was hypnotized. And I had to explain, no, he's not dead. I haven't knocked him out.
He's not running around the chicken just for no reason.
He's actually sat behind his desk. I've hypnotized him. Just be quiet and watch. So then I showed him. And then to show his friends, I was taken to his penthouse. And all the top bankers were there and, the top businessmen. So then what I did, I actually demonstrated on the top banker there. I did my 5-second hypnosis. Like, for the listeners, I can actually hypnotize genuinely without any catches at all. A total stranger. I hypnotized this top banker in 5 seconds, just laid him straight out on the floor. And the people there were in absolute gasps. They couldn't believe it. And his wife was like, what have you done? So do you want to join him? I said, okay. And bang, she was gone. I just laid him next to her.
You see, this is the scary part in all of this, because obviously myself and Johnny Whistles, we talk about the CIA, the kind of intelligence agencies. And something like that really, for me, from a dark point of view, sounds very sinister. But that would be a really, really handy tool.
Yes, it is. I actually, in my show, actually say, when I've hypnotized them, I said, look, now this, I'll teach the lads. I'll teach you for $5,000 how to use this on the wife. Just go, bang, shut the fuck up. Basically, I've heard enough of your moaning. Bang, gone, shut up.
Wow, and you know what? Free World, he's out in the chat room there, and he's saying, he'd pay somebody to get into his head. And, when I listen to Rod, I don't know if it's because your voice does go up and down, but it's like watching a pendulum. You almost send me into a trance. But you know what, Rod? I love it.
Just listen to my voice, Kev.
Here we go.
Chair, you're sinking, relaxing. Just listen gently to my voice. And as you do, you'll sink back further. You'll feel your body sink down to the chair. You'll feel the feeling of that chair as you sink down. There we go. I'm not going to do it because you will actually go into trance.
There we go, folks. And that was the quickest hour of radio ever. What happened? But Rod, we've touched on the hypnosis now. Chris has had you on as well. But something we haven't really...
I've got another funny story before we go on to your...
Perfect. Have we got time before the break? We've got a couple of minutes.
It's going to take a bit more than a couple of minutes.
Well, before we get to the break then, we'll have that on the other side. Where can people find your work, Rod?
Right, okay. Actually, if they want to see my shows, be warned it is adult shows because I don't know what you call it where your listeners live, but we have a Club 1830, which is all adult. All the lads go there on a lads' holiday. And on YouTube, it's my name. Just search YouTube for Rod Scarth. That's RODSCARTH on YouTube for my videos. And if you want to look at my stuff on the internet, my website is www.fright, as in you're frightened, so it's fright.org.uk. That's fright.org.uk. And you can see all the information there. There's 4 different links, or you can just look at my weird and unusual photography.
No, there's nothing weird and unusual about it, actually, Rod. I was looking through it today, and I mean, I am into kind of zombie kind of movies, things like that. And when I came across those types of photographs, absolutely amazing. And And like I was saying to you before the show, I was asking who does the makeup for these kind of things. And there was a little voice in my mind. We deal with false flags here, Rod. And the people who are behind the makeup for doing these zombie kind of movies and things like that, I imagine they would probably come in quite handy when they're making people look kind of injured or shot or plain dead. But before we go to the break, what got you into that kind of photography?
Well, believe it, I've done photography for around about 35 years, and I've done all the pretty stuff, the models, the shooting all the pretty stuff, the little girls and the lovely dresses and, the children. It's like, I'm bored of this now. Let's do something. Let's turn the tables completely. So I just went totally the opposite way and did horror and alternative.
Absolutely fantastic. And after that funny story, on the other side of the break, we're going to be getting into the deep woo. And I know that is where all you listeners want to go. A warm welcome back to all you Wookiees who are tuned in live this 4th of January 2016 to the Kev Baker Show with me, your host, Kev Baker. I am joined periodically by the one and only Johnny Whistles, and tonight's very, very special guest is Rod Scarth. Now, coming up right after this show, we are going to have Gwen Caldwell. She is going to be hosting the Freedom Link tonight because Joe has got a few dramas at home. And then coming up right after that, it's the guys on the Rundown Live, followed by Mr. Phoenix Rising Radio. What a night of radio lies ahead right after this show, and only here on your number one network. Now, I'm seeing a bit of fun in the chat room. I want to give a big shout out to Do You Want to Know? Thank you for tuning in tonight, man. And we're also having a bit of a laugh in there. Up Free World, talking about the Kev Baker Show, going for a second hour. Now, 2016, I do want this to be a huge year for the Kev Baker Show. I would love, it's my dream to go full-time doing this for all of you out there. And it's so lucky for us because we really are riding on the crest of a wave right here on Truth Frequency Radio Network. Chris and Cherie, they've cracked out the green stream. They've bought up the actual domain for truthfrequencymedia.com. I was hearing them talking about that at the weekend on their show, and I can only see good things ahead. So fingers crossed, guys, we will somehow figure out how we get KBS full-time. And I know Anne's already been in there and said we can't have him for a second hour. But you leave that with me, and we'll take care of the rest. So then, without any further ado, I want to go back to our good friend, Rod, Mr. Rod Scarth. Hypnotist, photographer, you name it, he does it. Rod, you're back with us. You got your cup of tea now, man?
Yes, indeed I have.
Good stuff. So you were promising us a really funny story. I'll just hand it to you.
Thank you very much. I did say to you the other day, I've got a jaw-dropping story for you, and this is the story now. To show you your listeners the power of hypnosis, I worked in Corfu this year, and I was just sat at the bar because I was promoting this show I was going to do at this hotel. And typical me, I said, I'll be here on Thursday. And I just got chatting to this girl stood next to me. She said, oh, you're a hypnotist. I went, yeah, okay, I am. So can you hypnotize me? I went, well, okay. I'll have a drink and then I'll hypnotize you. I've got nothing better to do in this bit of fun. So I said, okay, everybody in the hotel, I'll be here on Thursday, but this is the sort of thing I'll be doing. So I did a 5-second induction on this girl. I'm not going to mention the name because I was talking to her last night, funnily enough. Did a induction on her and then put her straight under, made her go deeper and deeper. And then I thought, right, let's dive straight in the middle of the show like I normally do. I said, right, when you open your eyes in a moment and I shake your hand, you think I'm absolute pure sex on legs. I'm the man of your dreams. And you think I am the gorgeous thing you've ever seen. And you're going to take me down the beach and shag me rotten, which I never do, by the way, listeners. It's just for fun, tongue in cheek. So she opened her eyes and stared at me. And just next to her, she's all over me. She's biting me and kissing my neck. And I thought, oh, easy, tiger. And actually trying to drag me out of the hotel lobby down to the beach. So I said, well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what sort of thing you'd expect on the show on Thursday when I'm here. So then I clicked my finger, do what I do, brought her out of it. And she said, you git. I know what you just did to me. Yes, she was still laughing. She said, do you realise I'm a lesbian? She said, I hate men. I've never been with a man, never will. And this girl had tried to bite me and give me love bites and drag me down to the beach to have sex with me. That is the power of hypnotism, because she just thought sex with this person. That's all she wanted. But I was a man.
This is the exact reason, like I was explaining before, one of our favourite nights in the NAFI when I was in the army, and that's the kind of pub on the army bases in the UK, it would be the hypnotist coming. We would all love it. There'd be people running about thinking they were chickens. They'd be eating cat food thinking it was proper food. It was hilarious, right? Yeah. But then, Rod, the power of this, it's exactly what you're saying. They took two guys, totally heterosexual guys, and made them kiss each other. Big no-no in the military at the time. Doesn't matter what anyone's personal feelings are. In the military at the time, no-no. And that led to it being banned on that particular base. So I do get that it is a very, very powerful tool indeed. And I'm sure we can assure the listeners that you only use it for good, Rod, right?
Indeed, yes. It's for entertainment use only. Even when they watch my videos, I'll go, oh my God, look what he's doing to that girl. But again, it's for a couple of minutes. I don't humiliate them. I always ask, do you want more? Raise your hand if you do. They always raise their hand, get permission. The listeners see what I'm talking about when they watch my videos. And for me, it's just pure entertainment. I get nothing out of it other than the sense that I'm entertaining the audience and watching their faces with laughter. That's what gives me the buzz, not what I'm doing to that girl, because it looks amazing. That's what life should
be, Rod. You're doing something that you really, really enjoy. And just by talking to you the few times that I have, I can tell you're really passionate about this. You really love this. But something else that you do as well is the mediumship. And this is something I really want to hear more about.
Basically, which is good. There's a bit of a side effect of doing hypnotism, because when I first started, I also looked into doing meditation. And Chris Everard talks about this, because I'm actually joining him this year in August. Just down the road from me is a place called Avebury in Avebury Stones. Now, just about 2 miles away from there, I used to actually lead a meditation school, and go into deep meditation is beautiful, beautiful in your mind. And that, opening your mind as well as hypnosis, don't know how, but it's opened my mind to be able to be a medium as well.
Right, you're freaking me out, because we talk about synchronicities on this show and on this network quite a lot. Chris and Cherie, they taught me all about synchronicities. And one of the questions I had actually jotted down tonight was to ask you whether meditation and self-hypnosis would be the same thing.
It's basically, yes. It's one. Yes, it swings and roundabouts. It's basically on the same road, but the hypnosis sort of diverts onto a fork, and meditation goes on, onto the left fork. But hypnosis on stage, you have to have a really, really deep subject, and only 1 in 5 has the ability to be hypnotized that deep on stage. I'll probably get everybody on stage to a certain point, but then I want to take them to the next level where they can open their eyes and they'll be doing something under my total command and control. Everybody probably can be hypnotized to think they're hot or they're cold, but then the crunch comes if they open their eyes and they do something. Right, you're mine. Let's have some fun.
See, this is the fascinating bit, because you basically take control of their mind and almost take them to another dimension where they don't even know where they are. And yet, when it comes to the mediumship, you're the one using your mind to access yet another dimension.
Yes. Basically, it's what I call it's like a third eye I've got. I see like another, like a past, something that's happened. I actually went to this woman's house. She said, Rod, we think we're haunted. I said, okay. So I went to the house, and she never said a word. She said, it's one of the rooms in the house. That's all she said. And I said, it's this room. And the reason why, and she said, how did you know it was this room? I said, no, I just feel it. I can see it's an old man. It's not the man who's doing it. It's his wife who's angry with him. And you're getting the vibrations from the angry wife. And then went downstairs and I said, he used to sit here with a pipe. He had a Jack Russell dog in front of that fire. And his wife just used to sit over there in that corner. And she said, I'm not going to say, how did you know that? I said, well, I can sense it. I can feel it. I can see it in my mind. She said, you are absolutely spot on. When we bought the house, he did have a Jack Russell and he smoked a pipe. How did you know? I said, look, I can just I can sense it. I can see it. And there is also, tell my listeners again, there's a funny, if I'm ever feeling a bit low, there's a few of my videos. Actually on YouTube, it's called, let me look at it now. It's called, obviously put my name in, it's called Haunted Fright Night at Laycock, I Jump. Now this is pure comedy. There's a place near us called Laycock, and it's really, really, really ancient. It's where a lot of the films are. In actual fact, Harry Potter, you know Harry Potter, the movie?
I certainly do.
Yes, Harry Potter, the inside of the school and the corridors was actually filmed in Laycock. So there you go. Interesting bit of information. Yes, I went to this pub, and we're all in this circle. If you ever look on YouTube, actually, it's called Rod Scarth, Haunted Fright Night, Laycock, I Jump. Now, what it was, now I've got to explain this. Imagine everybody's in a circle, and we're getting the vibe, we can feel these things, and I say, I can feel something in this corner. And I turn around, and as I turn around, I go to point in the corner where I see this thing, and as I do, I hit something out in the middle of the blackness. Watch the video. I scream like a little girl. It's hilarious.
No wonder, man. Now, Rod, there's something I have to clear up with you here, because it's in the chat room. We've got thousands listening right now. So there's people saying, when you're a hypnotist, could you literally take somebody and make them do something that they wouldn't want to do? Now, I personally think you definitely could do that. But from your point of view, Rod, I want you to explain that. Could you reassure the listeners that you're not going about just hypnotizing people willy-nilly?
No. I do it as a job. I don't do it just wandering around hypnotizing people to do things.
But it can be done.
If people want to know the truth, yes, listeners, you say, oh, you can't make people do what you don't want them to. I don't know. Is it me? It's just me in the world that can. I can make somebody do anything I want to. Whatever I command them or control them to do, they will do. You say, oh, they won't do it against their morals. But the way I tell a story, I take the morals, not to take the morals, obviously they keep their morals, but I weave a story in their mind so it doesn't seem wrong that they're doing. But it's not nastily, it's in the show. You know, I don't want them to do anything nasty.
You just kind of put a temporary kind of rewiring of the neurons.
Yeah, exactly. But the way I've pushed people, I can see I can make them do anything I want to. I don't make them do, ridiculous things that's really horrible, because you can tell what sort of person they are.
You see, guys, this is why it's really, really great, I think, that we can call on somebody like Rod, because he does know how the inner of the mind works. And that's what we're up against here. We literally are up against people who are maybe not hypnotizing us, but they are trying to program us and control us. Now then, let's get back into the woo, Rod. You've been on these ghost hunting experiences. What's your take on it? What's going on here?
Well, there is a program on telly that it actually does say at the beginning, this is for entertainment purposes only. It's called Most Haunted. Basically, it's on telly every week, and they take the mickey out of it on YouTube. You can see people with ropes around them being...
Used to love it.
Yeah, I'm being pulled. You can see the rope around their waist. That's the thing with when I do mine, it's no setups whatsoever. And I think there's a few I've actually got on YouTube. There's no setups. When we did at Laycock, we're all in this circle. I don't think it's a jumping one. There's another one on there. And I'm just in this circle, and they can actually say, I can feel this child tugging at me, and oh my God, this child was going round. This spirit was actually tugging at people's clothes and their jeans as it went round, and I was just nowhere near. It was not set up and actually.
Rod, you've worked a crowd, and there's something called, well, it's almost like, how would you call it? Hysteria. People's emotions can almost amplify things that are going on in the room without them being knowing of it at all. Do you think that happens at these seances and some of these ghost hunts?
Some of them, yes. You create an atmosphere. Obviously, you've got to create an atmosphere. You're not going to do it in broad day, like, oh, let's have some fun, let's walk down this corridor. You do it at night. You do it in haunted venues where you know it's haunted. But with mine, I don't know about others, but I just let things happen. I don't say, well, what's going to happen now? It's just like people actually say, we actually did one in Gloucestershire. I'll see if I can find it on my internet, actually. It's one of the places that Most Haunted went to.
It's something myself and John really, really want to go and experience. There's paranormal groups up here, But it's finding the time to do it, Rod. It's just trying to fit everything in.
Yes, right. Hold on, I'm looking at it. It's
You like that? I gave you a little chance there to find it.
yeah. There we go. The Haunted. It's the Ram Inn in where is it? In Gloucestershire.
Oh, come on. It sounds haunted already, man.
It is. Yeah, Most Haunted went there, and I actually took a group of people there, and it was amazing. What I do is I let people. I don't set anything up. I let people have a walkie-talkie. We've got something called an EMF meter, which reads electricity and vibrations in the room. They wander off with that and do their own thing with rooms that I think are the most haunted. And people actually on the microphone, let me, Rod, come and get us, please. Both of them were being pushed over in the room by something, and they was begging to come out, just take us somewhere else. Again, I was not in that room. I was off somewhere else. I think we had about 12 people that night, and they were just in different rooms that I felt were the most activity, and everybody was feeling things. Again, there was no setup whatsoever.
Wow, man. I mean, this is really, really fascinating stuff, and I'm sitting here smiling because it ties in with a lot of the stuff that myself and Whistles and Freaky Friday cover a lot. We always talk about different layers of reality, the paranormal, mind control, and all of this, Rod. It all ties together for me. It really does. Yeah. And I'm really happy that we've got somebody like you we can call on. But I know you've got other stories there to share with us, man.
I'm getting there, actually.
Yeah, actually getting there now. I thought we were
getting there.
Struggling.
Yeah.
Time.
That the one where I jump, if they want to fast forward it, it's actually 5 minutes 15 into the clip. We haven't heard from Mr. Whistles much this evening. I do feel very, very guilty that he's part of the show.
I just hope that he hasn't ran down to the beach when you were telling that story about seducing people. I'm probably going to have to go to the West Coast and find him somewhere. Johnny Whistles, are you there? No, see, I think he's still having these audio problems. He's laughing in the chat box, Rod.
I do feel guilty, actually, that I've taken over, and it's like, he's not saying anything.
There's some shows where Johnny Whistles will not say one word, Rod, but you know, I absolutely need that man. He is an equal on this show, because like I was saying to you, I ain't the most confident of guys, and I bet in your time doing hypnotherapy, that's one problem that you've probably had to try and overcome for some people. What other kind of strange requests have you had?
Oh, well, yeah, obviously the setup one, can you make my sex life better? No, I'm not a marriage counsellor. Right, one of the stories I'll give you actually was, now the thing is, also, here we go, there's another side thing to being a hypnotist and doing meditation, etc. There's a bad thing. You become so easily emotional because you've got to tune into people's thoughts and feelings that if something sad comes on the telly, I'm like a little bit, I cry my eyes out.
Can I make you feel better?
Go on then.
I do exactly the same.
Good lad.
My missus sits and looks at me and thinks, what are you doing? I look like some absolute namby-pamby fool, man. So I think it's just because we're in touch with our emotions, dude. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's typical. I'm a big bloke, big bald-headed. I do look like a thug, believe it or not.
Not at all, man. I was looking through your photos to Photoshop you into some art. You look cool, man. But I have to ask you, why always the cup of tea?
It's,
I was thinking to myself, that's an anchor and a trigger. He's programming people.
Have you seen the ones where the zombies are trying to get my tea and I'm next to... Do you see those?
I have, yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Mickey take at the end of my shoot. To lighten things up, I dive in, part of the shoot, whatever, I'm being strangled, I'm being, set at. There's actually one, if the listeners go and have a look at it, there's a bloke being castrated by a woman and it looks so real. And of course, the end of the shoot, there's me being castrated, always time for a cup of tea. It's just an end of the shoot, light-hearted, just gesture.
No, it's brilliant. And like I said to you before, I really, really like your photography. And I urge everyone, go and check out Rod's work. If you're listening in the archives, I will have the link to all of his work in there for you. But, you've done a show with Mr. Christopher Everard, and we were saying before the show just how knowledgeable a guy he is.
Unbelievable.
Now, I don't know if you've started to open your eyes more since you've come into contact with Chris about the bigger picture in the world, Rod, or whether even before you came into contact with any of us, you were into all of this kind of mind control, New World Order, Or maybe you think all of that's just a conspiracy theory.
No,
Just thoughts on that, man.
I was into it years and years ago, but it wasn't the MK Ultras. I was into the Monarch. I don't know why. I just was more into. It's the same. It's a sidestep after MK Ultra. It was called Monarch.
Monarch.
But,
Talk to us, Rod, because that is one form of the MK programs that I've looked into myself. And what I find really, really interesting is once you've looked at this, you're going to see butterflies everywhere.
Yes, indeed. You've lost me. I was actually going to say something completely different.
It's the KBA. I've actually got into your head, man.
That was it. We did discuss this on. I did message you sometime, but sometime this year, if for the listeners, if there's any in the UK or they want to come over, not sure when, but sometime this year, if you are actually interested in meeting me and learning the art of hypnotism, I will be teaching hypnotism.
Now, you did mention this in the chat box. Tell me more. What's happening here? Are you going to be travelling around? Do we need to come and see you?
No, I'm thinking I'm going to come up to Scotland to see you guys, right?
Oh, no.
Make a weekend of it. I'll do a show, and whilst I'm at the weekend, I'll do a bit of teaching as well, so the listeners can come and look and come and have a chat and actually learn a bit of hypnosis as well. I'll be doing classrooms with teaching hypnotism.
Johnny Whistles is loving that in the chat. But we were even saying before that how you'd been looking into this stuff before. MK, Monarch. What else were you looking into, Rod?
Basically, it was... Oh, yes, that was the other thing. Whilst I did go off the subject a little bit, didn't I? When I was...
Hence why we get on so well.
Whilst I was working in Jamaica and actually did a show there. And after the show, this man sidled up to me in the bar after. He said, "Rod, hypnotist?" I said, "Yeah, obviously, I've just done." She said, "Can you use it in interrogation?" I went, "Well, yeah." I thought, hello, where's this going then? It turned out he was part of the interrogation unit of the sort of secret service in Switzerland. And he wanted to sort of rack my brain if I'd help him unofficially interrogate his prisoners using hypnosis.
Wow.
Yes, so I was actually approached.
No way.
Yeah.
And you've been, why am I not surprised? Really?
Yeah, I said I'd be interested, but the thing is, in a court of law, you cannot use it. If hypnotism's ever mentioned, it's thrown out of court because you can't use it. It's not admissible because you can actually put triggers into people's mind thinking they did actually commit that crime and they did actually murder that person. You can actually make them believe that thing happened. So basically, if you use hypnotism, it can't be used in court.
And now you'll remember me saying this on Freaky Friday, but there's thousands listening. I don't know if we've got any new listeners tonight out there. But what Rod is explaining there, we can take into the world of false flags. And really relevant for this time is mass shootings. Obama's going after the guns. One of the cases that he's going to throw in everyone's faces is going to be the Aurora Batman shooting. Remember James Holmes? Remember when he was arrested, taken to the cells, and then he was kind of in a whacked out state? A couple of days later, he'd be screaming and shouting. What am I doing here? I don't know what I've done. And then in would come the psychiatrist. Another couple of days of peace and quiet, then it would wear off again. And that's why it's really, really important. And another reason why having somebody like Rod, he can give us these little throwaway bits of information and we can take it and use it to prove or at least build our cases against these animals that are running these false flags. But Rod, I said to you on the Freaky Friday, that definitely sounds like somebody getting their programming, their triggers and anchors reinforced.
Yes, exactly. And this is what I'll be doing this Sunday, actually videoing it. And it will be going out onto YouTube. So all your listeners can actually pop on YouTube and actually see the finished product on how MK Ultra and Monarch actually works.
Now, is this a friend of yours or anything? Because I would love to do a show with the two of you.
Well, I've got so many volunteers for this thing because actually, of course, every time I get invited to a barbecue, Rod, get hypnotized. Next thing you know, I'm hypnotizing everybody around me and they're all acting stupid and, they can't talk, they can't stand and things like that. And this woman I'm doing on Sunday, I hypnotized her so deep. And she's actually I won't say the victim, she's my subject on Sunday. And she's going to be... I can't say too much in case they actually listen, but she's going to be the subject on Sunday, the MK Ultra experiment.
Wow. And Rod, any plans to go abroad this year and work your arts on the 18 to 30s?
In actual fact, no. I've worked there for 11 years. Now, this is the thing you didn't know, you see, Mr. Kev.
Oh, there's lots I don't know, Rod.
Yes. Oh, one of my loves, I love redheads, by the way. So there you go, you listeners know that. I absolutely love redheads. Also, I'm happily married for 31 years or thereabouts. I think 31 years. And I have 7 children, all from the same wife. So I was a busy man when we didn't have a telly.
You know, congratulations, man. And no, in this day and age, I mean, to have a marriage that long, brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I hypnotised, that's the thing, you see.
Well, you see, I was going to ask you that. You took my next line away from me, man.
Now, I'll tell you, I'm going to swear a little bit. Now, people say, Rod, it must be fantastic being a hypnotist and having a wife, you know, that you can... Now, this is word for word. I cannot hypnotise my wife. Her exact words are, he can't hypnotise me because his voice pisses me off.
You know, that's why Anne doesn't get how people can listen to me on the radio. She's like, they don't have to listen to the other 23 hours of the day.
A small little story. When I was first learning, I wasn't working abroad. So I had to practice on everybody I came across. And we had a babysitter. Oh, bad move. So, of course, I hypnotised the babysitter. It's a bit naughty, but I hypnotised her really, really deep. And I said, when you hear the front door slam, you don't know why, but you'll have a sudden urge to do all the ironing and washing up. We came back to all the ironing and washing up completely done.
You see, I need to learn how to do this, man. I really do. But listen, before we go tonight, could you tell everyone where to find your work, your website, and also your YouTube channel?
Yes, indeed. Right, my website is the 3 W's, so that's www.fright, that's fright.org.uk. There's many links on there for my work, photography, etc., and paranormal. Also, YouTube, just put my name in, Rod Scarth. Search me on YouTube, see all my videos on the Fright Nights and my amazing shows as well.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That was Rod Scarth. He will be back again very soon. Until then, wherever you are, make it TFR.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Rod.